Now, what is this massa confusa? The job is not to judge that confusion too quickly, because in the confusion are all the potentials. The heroic figure of the psyche is threatened by confusion. And that's pretty much the starting point again and again in our lives. Now, what is this massa confusa? The heroic figure of the psyche is threatened by confusion. A confused mass. And that's pretty much the starting point again and again in our lives. Now, what is this massa confusa? It is...
Fred's been working on his jokes. Haven't you, Fred?
Why, yes, I have, Murray. Thanks for taking an interest. Why did the squirrel have to take a paternity test? Because he couldn't remember where he'd buried his nuts. Bloody squirrels. Thick as mints. Coming over here.
That's enough.
Gee, sorry I chucked that crispy cake at your napper. Crispy cake's no big deal, Chief. You want to see a real scran injury? Boom, boom, boom. That was a cheap macaroon bar from the van. You want to see another scran injury, huh? Put your hand underneath my cap. Good little lump there. The granny walloped me with a lion bar. I got that beat. I got that beat. That's a Rustler's burger. Burned right through my tracksuit. Well, whoop, now, listen. Don't know about that, but I was shaking my Christmas presents one year, trying to find out what was in them, on the sneaky. I can't extend that. Do you know why? Got to the biggest present. Turned out to be an extra large Toblerone. The weight of it pulled me right over. Look at that. It's a free Bentos. It ripped through my shopping bag, hit my leg. I got something tasty for you. Took a bad reaction to sucking on a banana fritter. Banana fritter? It's a sweet. Want to see pics of Jackie Bird covered in skitters? I'll drink to that. Off pubes all over the fucking place. I got the creme de la creme right here. Just give me a minute. Hold on. Give me a second. Right there. See that? Beetroot stains? Right there. Greg's steak bake. It gave me heartburn.
What's a fever? What's fever for? Freeing mind out. Dark thoughts and no more. So we don't hesitate when we're done dealing.
Buenos dias. How are we all? And just in that moment, more technical misery piles down. Where are we? A feast. Good morning. Good morning to you, Matty. GTF Films, morning to you, Ali. Greetings from St Andrews. Well, we're casting the net. We're casting the net far and wide this morning. I have to say, my capella, good morning to you. Great opening track. There's a bell today. That's Moodhanger. One of us. Bradfordorians, I believe. And it's a topper, eh? It's a topper. And Madame Guy love Dr. Weetabix. Dr. Weetabix is an institution, isn't he? Aren't they? I think they're in like North Lanarkshire or something. I don't want to get that wrong. I don't know. I don't know. Does anybody know where Dr. Weetabix hails from? Anyway, a genius. A long-term internet mischief maker. Have you ever seen the GTA? The GTA ones that they've done. Basically, they're geniuses, whoever they are. They're brilliant. They've certainly raised a few chuckles out of me over the years. Urban Hermit, morning to you. Big Ian, morning to you. Did you dub this? No. If only I had. It's the dub that I wished I had done. It was a Dr. Weetabix masterpiece. You can, of course, donate to Discontent if you feel excited to do so early in the stream. You can click the link at the top, the Ko-fi link, and you can support us there. Where are we at? Kilmarnock, is that what Dr. Weetabix is? Kilmarnock. There we go. There we go. Is that Ayrshire? So they have contributed something wonderful to the world since Rabbie Burns. Right. As usual, it's the Agendaless Collective. I didn't really have time to sort some things this morning, so we're going to have to busk it as usual, but such is life. I have an intermittent monitor, which is a wee bit annoying, if I'm honest. It just keeps flickering on and off. It was fine, but now it's not. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it is actually dead annoying. It's doing it constantly now. Right, here we go. And the scheme. Here, I noticed yesterday, somebody else had pilfered my ID, Jim Spence, or 50 pence Spence, as he's now being referred to as. What is that? Is that a mark on my face? 50 pence Spence. Who was it that took? He's kind of like the deliberate contrarian, but you also do wonder about him, to be honest. Jim Spence, in case you're wondering who I'm talking about. A kind of unnecessary, reactionary, you know. But it's a weird time. It's like we've reached a time where everybody's just flinging their tuppence worth in when it comes to politics and whatnot. So, but it's kind of weird. Like the guy that used to like be like, you know, reporting on like Cowdenbeath versus Falkirk is now telling us that the police need guns and that all black people should be deported from the UK. You know. He's a proper teapot, it has to be said. There's no two ways about it. I'm not going to lie, this you can't see it. You don't know that this monitor is flickering on and off. You'll just have to trust me. Not that any of you care. Nobody cares. But who was it? Where's what's his chops? John McFadden. I noticed that he had replied. Where's John McFadden? I'll find it. It's impossible for John McFadden not to have replied to me. He'll be here somewhere. And then I can see who it was that showed my image. Right, here's John McFadden. I've seen he had replied to somebody. There, right, who's that? Who's the Derry Coo? They follow me. The Derry Coo. This is you. They pass around. Right, so you're a good socialist. You've got James Connolly in your bio, right? You've showed my image. You never wait. Bob made this image. Oh, I'm no bored. But it is a good one, eh? What is Jim Spence actually saying? Jim Spence has blocked me, as you can see. Why is it all reactionaries? I mean, I'm running out of people to slag direct because they've all blocked me. But what is it with these? Why do they all block? Have you noticed that? It was like that James English guy. You know, I was still moaning about that James English guy being wide, coming and spraffing a load of nonsense and then running away, blocking me. What is Spence actually saying here? Let's see. Jamie Fitzpatrick's replied to him as well. Perhaps I can't do it. It's too early on the weekend for me to attempt a Dundonian accent. Although the thing about Dundonians, I always remember, when I was a very young man, I worked for a Dundonian company when I was like I had a Saturday job from when I was like 14, 15, and I was like 16. They gave me like a part-time job with them, and they were Dundonians, and I used to go up there sometimes. I used to go up to Dundee to do with the work, and they would I always remember they would say a roundabout is a circle. You go up there, there's a circle. You go down that, go to the right, you come to another circle. A circle. Anyway, I'm sure I've mentioned this before. If you're a long time viewer. Right, Jim 50 pence Spence, as he's now being referred to, says, perhaps just me. Guaranteed. We're off to a flyer, Jim, like. But is sense something intangible has shifted? Is that? I don't know, is that oxymoronic? I don't know, it's like something intangible has shifted. Oh no, okay, something intangible. It's getting a bit philosophical here. Folk have looked at the gender warriors. Folk have looked at the gender warriors. The climate clowns. Is that alliteration? The DEI bigots and the Islamo-fascists who want to enslave women and everyone else who doesn't buy their warped authoritarianism, and said ram it. You're in a bubble. People are mainly concerned about heating and eating, not black people and Muslims on the telly. Muslims on the telly, eh? It's like a British institution now, isn't it? Like, you know. It's quite strange, though, I have to say, you know. As a sports reporter, he was just like your generic Scottish sports reporter, wasn't he? But we've been conditioned to like they're just like kind of cloned, aren't they? They're like all Scottish kind of like media people. You go through you come in through the scullery and then you get allowed to wash dishes and then you progress like, you know, through the house until you eventually get somewhere within Scottish media, you know what I mean, where you get your own wee programme or something, you know, and that's it. That's the trajectory of Scottish media. That's why if you go back like 5 decades, it was just the same type of people. the same type of comedy. Well, it's not. To be honest, our comedy has got a lot worse. It's on the mainstream, you know. But anyway, it's just weird, you know. Oh, this guy, Rab Dixon, he's a right reactionary. He's a swivel-eyed maniac, isn't he? Dead angry Rab. He's the most angriest guy. He hates me. He's blocked me a long time ago. Look, another one. Not enough yet, Jim. Too many people are constrained by their desire to be seen by total strangers as nice or liberal. And the fear of being labelled bigot, racist or far right, all of which is complete bollocks, said the bigoted racist. Bigoted racist deny shock. Bigoted racist denies bigoted racism, like, you know. They're all just absolutely, they're all terrified, you know. Some of you might have seen the exchange that I had with Nigel Farage's embryo, like last week. We'll try and cover it in a bit. It's actually got it's got about 350,000 views online now. It was quite an amusing exchange, I have to say. But it's that thing, like the vibe. You know, there is a vibe of like there was a guy. I mean, he was a nice enough chap. When I left that exchange, there was a guy spoke to me in his tweeds, and but he did feel like, you know, he was kind of like, he didn't say directly, but, you know, he was more or less concerned about the dilution of the white race, like, you know what I mean? Which I'm really not particularly I'm not overly concerned about, to be honest. Angry Rab, the Ranger danger, indeed. Most of them are Rangers, Rangers dangers. Shall we move to the run him out of tune? It's quite, I suppose it is a little bit depressing though that I mean, we're caught in this thing where we know the media is in decline significantly. The mainstream media or otherwise are in decline. But it's, and I don't know whether or not affording the Courier the title of the Dundee Courier, does that enter mainstream media category? I don't know. But it does. I think it is a little bit depressing that people like what's his chops, reaction 50 pence Spence, that he has a column, because I guess that it gives him the sense that his opinion is of some value or otherwise. Perhaps that's what it is. So then he comes onto X, perceiving it to have value as well. Which again provokes another question. I was sort of having that ongoing observation of Martin Geisler's enraged exchange with that Mainstream Monitor account, where Geisler is indignant because his journalistic credentials are being questioned by some anonymous account online. But the fact that this is all playing out on Elon Musk's social media platform, you know, the irony seems lost on them all, you know. That's the significant part of it, but nobody seems to be sort of like grasping why that's so significant, you know. I think it's significant, but then David Icke was a sports reporter. Is Spence going to be the David Icke? Listen, David Icke, David Icke has been proven right on most things. I think it's just the lizard people box that still needs to be ticked to kind of absolve Icke of all kind of lunacy. But, you know, David Icke now seems like the sane person in the room when we take a look around, when we look around us. What a journey this guy has been on. Scott News, thank you for reposting the stream. I would encourage everyone, if you're on the Intersphere, if you're on X or wherever you are, why not repost? Why not repost What the X at this new time that we've chosen? Will we stick to it? I don't know. 11 o'clock on a Saturday morning. I tell you what, spring is threatening to spring is chapping on the door. It's quite mild out there. There's a wee bit of bite, but it's definitely, I think we're heading into sort of a slightly less chilly climb. Okay, so what I wanted to maybe look at this morning was really this. Let me see what Norman of Nowhere is saying. I like Norman of Nowhere. He's quoting Leo Kearse, who I despise. Leo Kearse is a repugnant individual. But even like, this is this whole vibe with the Zach Polanski messaging. And the Polanski thing troubles me a little bit, I have to say, and we'll have to break it down, I think, as best I can as to why I find it somewhat irksome. And like, it's a kind of weird one. It's almost like, let me just get to it. Let's go and find it. I'll have to put this. I'll have to put a different. I'll have to load something up here so I can play Polanski's video. Let's see, what was it? I thought this was my grandmother's living room until I noticed the cabinet of crystal glasses integrated into the fireplace. The guy is a toff. Right, shall we look at the Polanski thing? I guess we'll have to, right? We've made it Oh, I have to check on X. Is anyone there? Quite a few cats here. Good time slot. Oh, I'm getting. Everybody tells me I get conflicting. I'm always getting conflicting information about this. Hope you're feeling better, Bob. Thank you very much, John Cowan. I am feeling better, but I'm still feeling a bit shite. I had a minging cold. Everybody's had a cold anyway. Kev Spence. I get my news from the Dandy. Oh, you're in Spain. Whereabouts in Spain are you? Good for you. I knew this. See, this is the problem. We've got this troll account again. What was it? It's this Groins account. They bother Groins, aye. Let's have a look at. Let's have a look. Let's get. I have to put this thing on. Hold on. I have to put this. There'll be a slight. It'll be slightly out of sync, which I will fix. I will get around to sorting the sync in that. I'll get round to sorting out. Right, let's have a listen. Let's see what Zach's saying. Right, watch Zach Polanski. Zach Polanski delivers the Greens Party political broadcast. Okay, let's have a
Imagine
look.
if we put that money actually into
right.
our
Okay,
energy.
here we go.
Look, I get it. We all hate party broadcasts. We just want to watch Corrie or whatever's on next. But I just want to take a moment to
I
ask
haven't
you to
actually
remember
watched this. I haven't.
something the government want you to forget. They want you to forget that right now we are living in rip-off Britain.
Slow pan in.
There was a time when bills weren't just going up and up and up, and our public services actually worked. That what's happening right now, it's not normal. It's not extreme or obscene to ask for something better. We're paying for it after all. But right now they're getting exactly what they want, which is for you to think that change is not possible, that it has to be this way. But it does not have to be this way. Billionaires own far too many of our politicians. And every day, we're seeing how far that rot goes. People at the heart of government leaking secrets. And a Labour government is crumbling. But we've got Nigel Farage. He's trying to paint reform as some sort of alternative. But reform and Labour both accept money from oil and gas companies, arms trade companies, private healthcare and gambling companies. That means they work for them and not you. But the Green Party, we're offering hope and a plan. We're going to take back what's ours from the people who have taken what's ours. Because for decades now, they have been making a killing from selling it back to us. We need to end rip-off Britain. 1, we're going to lower bills. By ending shareholder profits, we can bring water companies back into public hands. 2, defend our National Health Service. Millions of pounds going to private healthcare. Imagine if we put that money actually into our NHS.
It's just momentum light stuff, you know what I mean? It's 10 years too late, you know? And everybody's going on at the aesthetic thing about it. And I'm inclined to agree. I find it quite irritating. I find the Green thing quite irritating. The Green Party is comprised of, like, the people generally in the Green Party, the Tories with bikes, you know? And they really are some of the most class prejudiced people you could care not to wish to meet, you know. So I find this kind of and I always find it's this weird thing where it's now just become this battle for this kind of notion of the working class, you know, which is just it's a very strange kind of thing. It's quite perverse. I think nobody's really drilled down into it yet as to why it's so perverse. Because it's basically it's this weird battleground with the Liberals. Because we've been through this before, you know, but we've got to remember it's like they're all battling over quite a small section of voters who actually participate in electoral politics at the minute, you know. So it's this weird thing. It's this very strange kind of attempt at the messaging. This is incredibly contrived. Obviously, they went to some museum to film this particular piece. But I don't know. I just find the whole. I really find the Green Party. I really do not like the Green Party for many reasons. And then you have this kind of section where people are going like, well. What does that mean? That like you're pro-reform or something? I mean that's obviously ludicrous. That's not what we're saying. You know, nobody's saying that. But it seems to be this. I saw a clip last night of Polanski saying that the polling was saying that the Green Party were just ahead, and they had a lot more to do, but. The future of the country was at stake here. That's what he was saying. What do we think about that? Is that a reasonable thing to say? The Gorton and Denton by-election is whether or not the Greens win the Gorton and Denton by-election will dictate the future of the country itself. I'm not so sure about that. But you know, what do you think? Matty says it looks like the set from Twin Peaks. It does. There's a Lynchian element to Polanski's broadcasts. Props to Big Ian here. Polanski can make those Twin Peaks bigger through hypnosis. I just struggle a little bit with the whole Green Party thing. That they've been, I see the Greens as you know, it's the ultimate. It's what did I refer to it as before? Evangelical liberalism. Really, that's what the Green Party represent. And I think it's this idea. You know, they've got this young girl who's the candidate, who's a plumber. Kind of working class, you know, plumber girl and whatever, but it's kind of like another leaf out of the identitarian booklet, isn't it? Like, you know, where they've tried to create, where they put working class into the sort of apothecary of identities in itself, which it should never exist in that place. But then they kind of apply all this stuff to, oh look, we've got a woman and she's a plumber and she's working class, and they all fetishise this, and that's not really what it's about. This is not a working class movement. It didn't emerge from the working class. It's not a movement that's representative of a wide range of working class people from all different backgrounds. It's liberals, it's middle class liberals. And when you see these kind of terms that are thrown around, like the cosplaying working class and that sort of stuff, it's hard not to fall into those criticisms, really, I think, you know. But what do you think? What do we think about, I mean, he's like a musical theatre guy, you know? And then we've got groins, we've got this person going, surely just vote for whoever can give us mass remigration. It must be weird to be somebody like this. I mean, presumably they're just popping up in the comments here for the noise up and that, which is cool, bring it on, or the more the merrier or whatever, but when we've reached this stage where people think it's a joke and think it's funny to talk like that, you know what I mean? We've reached such a sort of nadir, such a debased state of culture. It's just quite depressing, I suppose, isn't it? That there's that people, even when they think it's funny, it's kind of a declaration of idiocy, isn't it? I mean, why? I mean, groins, right? I don't know what you've not got your face there because you're obviously a shite bag. You would never actually put your face to say such stuff, you know. But if you did, I mean, it's the kind of equivalent. It's like, why don't you just wake up in the morning, instead of wiping your arse, just wipe all your shite that you've wiped off your arse, just wipe it all over your face and just go out in the streets, you know? Because that's basically, you carry opinions like that. You might as well just wear them on your sleeve, or on your face rather, for that matter. I'll be back shortly.
Be honest now, tell me. Look where one thing a mackerel gone to. One thing a mackerel, two little piece of fuckery. For me $100, that one thing a tin mackerel gone to, my bumper class we are going to suffer in this.
Badang dang, bun a pedophile, we come for bun pedophile. Bun pedophile, me say for bun pedophile. Me say the how the motherfucker you figure touch a little child. How the motherfucker you figure touch a yo we are gonna put them in the fat and me say boil them in the aisle. Put them in the fat and me say boil them in the aisle. We come for bun pedophile, we come for bun pedophile. Yo me say you sick and me say yo you too vile. Yes that is got them.
I drink in this pub all the time.
Okay, so you.
My name is Drunk Harry from Scotland.
Hi, Drunk Harry from Scotland.
And I drink in this pub all the time. I'm not taking part in your.
Royal decree. Oh, Diana.
on your radio, on Global Player.
Getting really bored of the narrative that it's migration that's driving up the cost of housing. And so I took a little bit of time and did the thing that I normally do in my day job, which is make a chart. Now, what you're looking at here is the increase in housing costs between 2002 and 2024, alongside the increase in the population. You can see house prices have increased by 149%, rent has increased by 81%, but the population has only increased by 17%. What could be responsible for the gap? Now, of course, you don't expect housing costs and population increases to rise at the same rate of 1-to-1, but you also don't expect rental prices to increase at 4 times the rate of the population increase. You also don't expect housing costs to increase at 9 or 10 times the rate of the population increase. So there is an explanation for the gap. It's mostly greed.
I'm back once again. Thank you, whoever was kind enough to hit the donate button there. Where am I looking for? I'm looking for my bookmarks. Lisa McKenzie on the Zach Polanski. Tell me you have no idea who the British working class is without telling me. Actions speak louder than words. Saints fan, you can stop making a complete fool of yourself, can you? You can't, you just can't. Why? Because the Greens video is patronising. Oh dear, you really are that stupid. Understandable as it's pitched above your infantile view of the world. But just stop embarrassing yourself then, even further. And this is the bit that that's why I bookmarked it, you know. It's about a timeline when powerful billionaires didn't have the ability to manipulate UK politics. We even read books, you know. And I think the thing that's interesting about it is it's the same thing, thank you. It's the same thing that what was the other one that they did? What was the other green thing that they did that made me think about it? It's the same thing with I think it was the other one where he was running. The sort of thirsty enthusiasm for the Green Party by Liberals as the kind of solution to this crisis that we're hurtling into at a rate of knots. It is a great moment for exposure. It's the same as the Your Party thing. Both of these iterations of these liberal politics, of these bourgeois liberal kind of saviour politics, it exposes something very profound or very, very significant. It exposes the fact that these kind of comfortable middle classes, they're just as invested in the kind of PR bollocks of the neoliberal era as everyone else, you know what I mean, that benefits from it. They don't want to have to get their hands dirty. They don't want to really have to deal with actually going into a scheme or dealing with working class people or working class communities, or they don't know any working class people. You know, this is the thing. This is, you know, it's a very strange schism that we've got throughout the whole of culture. So they like a really comfortable wee story that's put together, and they're complete suckers for it. So they're kind of like the suckers for the Saatchi and Saatchi political campaigning. And this is really what it exposes the superficiality of it all, because it's not a mass movement. It's contrived, and it's what they want. It's the messaging that they want to see that makes them feel comfortable. It's a sort of equivalent of giving to charity. It's a bit like, I've absolved myself of any, I've done something, I've contributed in some way. Well, how did you do that? Oh, I gave some money to some charity somewhere. It's like, well, that charity, the CEO's on like 150 grand and they give like 1 pence of every 100 quid that they get to the thing that they're supposed to be supporting, you know. But you don't want to look at the small print, you don't want to look at the details, you just absolved yourself off it. And I think the Green thing, like the Green Party itself is the kind of the ultimate representation of greenwashing. It's like the greenwashing of neoliberal politics, you know. In Scotland you've got like Ross Greer and that, who have got like an erection for NATO and stuff, you know. And they're all over the place on so many different policies. They're all over the place, you know. They want to ban all cars, but they'll let like rich people fanny about in electric motors everywhere. But that's okay. But if you're broke, you're not getting it. You're not to have a motor, you know. You get on your bike because it's good for your health and stuff, you know. They're the kind of like they're the full on, you know. I know what's good for you, like, you know. Thank you for all these donations. It's much appreciated. We're actually we're actually trying to raise 30 grand, which I've never made a big song and dance about it. And I thought a couple of times, like, I'll have to like make a crowdfund video or something, and then I was like, no, I just cannot be arsed doing that. I've done that so many times over the years. And look, the target's there. If people want to contribute to what we do on Discontent, do it. For those that know, and if you watch on Catch Up, if you, because a lot of yous do, then support us, then donate to Discontent. It's appreciated. But the thing about Lisa McKenzie, now I disagree with Lisa McKenzie fundamentally on some significant areas. Certainly when it comes to geopolitics, I don't agree with Lisa's position on Gaza. I think she's fallen into some quite hypocritical kind of position on pro-Palestinian protesters and whatnot. So I don't know what that's all about. You know, I mean, I've never met Lisa, but I do respect her, and I think that she says some very important things. And she's a working class academic, and she gets dogs abuse, from people in the Green Party and Liberals, and it's always middle class Liberals that give her the most abuse. So there's a real blind spot there. And to be honest, personally, it's people. And the other person that gets a lot of abuse is Anne-Marie Ward. Another, you know, fiercely intelligent, fiercely capable working class woman, and it's hard not to see a lot of that abuse just when you dial into it. It's just basically class prejudice, as far as I'm concerned, and it just shows you, doesn't matter how intelligent you are, doesn't matter how capable you are, you know, if you don't come with the right credentials for the middle classes, they will monster you, you know, especially online. If you want any evidence for me to back that up, then I will back it up. I tell you what I'm going to look at just now. Hold on, what's our commentary? Thank you very much. These donations. Our own version of ice on steroids is required. Is that right, Groins? I'm enjoying Groins' contrarian reactionary views, but rather than having Johnny Cash as his avatar, who Johnny Cash was a humanitarian, he was a very intelligent man. It's a bit sort of, it doesn't seem right there. Johnny Cash certainly wasn't a racist, and I don't imagine he would approve of your views. But it's that thing, this person says, what is it they say? Where is it? I say them openly. If these are your opinions and you say them openly, then let's see who you are. Put your face to your perspectives, or forever hold thy. Hold on a sec. Okay, I'm going to look at this thing that happened last Friday. I need to go into TikTok.
Left-wing people are not playing purity politics with you. We can just clock that you would rather side with the fascist government than you would with us. You're using the argument of purity politics to skirt around the fact that you won't educate yourself. It's you being lazy. Left-wing people are not playing purity politics.
You know what I hate? When people say things to make it seem like they're not as posh as they actually are. Like, you are middle class. You stop that nonsense right now. Or don't try and make it seem like, oh, I come from a working class. No, you don't. Stop it. So I say all of this because of a story. Something happened recently. So it's been raining like since the beginning of this year. It hasn't stopped raining in the UK. And somebody that I know was wearing suede shoes and his shoes got ruined in the rain, like just completely wet. So we're going back to our destination and he goes, oh, my shoes are ruined. I'm going to have to throw them away because they're wet. And I said, you're going to throw away your shoes just because they're wet? Obviously they're suede and water doesn't really go together, but I was like, you're going to throw them away? Like, I was like, surely something can be done. And he was like, oh, no, they're too old anyway. They've got holes in them. So obviously, being the person that I think he is, I'm like, you're wearing shoes with holes in them. So I say to him, you wear shoes with holes in them? And he's just like, ah. And then the person that's with us answers me and says, I wear shoes with holes in them. And I'm like, bitch, please.
I don't know what's going on there. Right. This was this exchange that happened in last Friday night, right? So let's just watch it.
No, you are trying to patronise. You think you're patronise me? I didn't think so. Said that Jim Ratcliffe has comments about us being colonised. He said a number of times that he was right about this. A colonisation. You think that that's the right terminology to use?
Yes. A good example of this is in Tower Hamlets when you have signs out in Arabic just to appease the majority population over there.
What do you mean appease? What do you mean appease them?
Well, because they can't speak the language.
Right, so
they have to have signs in Arabic.
What do you mean they have to have signs in Arabic? There's signs in Arabic in Tower Hamlets to accommodate a certain demographic. Is that what you're saying? And this is.
Yeah, but don't you think?
Look, your man here can sit and dispute if he wants whether or not there's a correlation between the rise of reform and the rise of overt racism within our social media, within our general culture. But that's just anybody with a scintilla of intelligence knows that that's not true. Anybody with a scintilla of intelligence knows that these are directly correlated, you know? So it's like, and if you're saying in Tower Hamlets, they have signs to accommodate a certain demographic because there's a predominant demographic in that area, this is maybe true, right? But what does that mean? What does that actually mean for the greater context of the system, of the society? We've had 30, 40 years of managed decline of neoliberalism. We've got an entirely bankrupt political culture. You've got Reform who are positing themselves as oppositional to the establishment. It's laughable. You've got a merchant banker in Farage who's been a professional careerist politician for his entire existence.
Because otherwise you're just giving a speech.
You said at the start, when you started talking, you said that Jim Ratcliffe has comments about us being colonised. He said a number of times that he was right about this. But Jim Ratcliffe apologised for this today. And it's quite a stretch to say that he was right because it's quite a hyperbolic statement to say that we've been colonised, you know? What have you got to say about that?
What he apologised for was his language. He didn't necessarily apologise for...
So do you think that we've been colonised by immigrants?
I think that has been happening over the last 2 decades, yes.
A colonisation, you think that that's the right terminology to use?
Yes.
You do? Right, you don't think that's an exaggerated, ridiculous, you know, considering the numbers. You said since...
Considering the numbers.
You said since
16 million people have come to this country since
1997. Right, and,
yes.
And how many have left the country since 1997?
You'd have to tell me the figures.
Maybe you should know what those figures are if you're going to make these statements. And you've got to say 16 million people have come into the country through immigration, right? And then the other factor is that this seems to be the only policy that you seem to talk about is immigration. It seems to be the only thing. You said a minute ago that house prices have risen in London because of immigration. Where is that? Where is that fact from?
That's from a think tank called Onward, which you can read their study online.
Well, what's the veracity of that? It does sound like a dubious statement to make. You know, there's innumerable other factors.
It was a research study which you can find online.
By who?
Onward, I just told you.
Right, and who are they?
They're a think tank in Westminster.
Right,
I
so
just told you that as well.
a think tank produced a study that said that house prices had risen primarily because of immigration. Do you think that's a widely accepted perspective?
I didn't say primarily. Again, you're misquoting me. I said it's contributed to the rise in house prices.
By a couple of £100, that's what you said. A couple of £100.
£100 a month.
A month, that's right. It's a massive statement. It's a massive claim to make.
Well, feel free to read the study online. It's onwards. You can find it on their website.
It's a big claim to make, like, you know.
Thank you.
Can I ask another question while we're at it?
Not really. Unless you come down to the microphone, then you can ask a question.
I don't need to come down to the microphone. Okay?
Harrison, do we
Let me ask you one other question just now. Right? You've come. Listen, pal. Look, pal. Listen, right? You've come into here. You've come to Edinburgh, right? You want to talk about these things in this city. I'm one of the few people probably from this town sitting in this room, right? So I'm going to ask you a question about this, right? Do you think that the association with reform in its current political ascendancy, do you think that there's an uncomfortable correlation between reform and an outpouring of racism, either via social media or generally in the streets?
Next question.
So you think there's no association between these two things?
I think we've got a question for the lady. Thank you, sir.
You don't have to patronise me, son. Do you think that there's a correlation between these things? No, you are trying to patronise me. You patronise me. I didn't think so.
Right. Well, that was the madness of this. Where's the thing that I'm looking for? But he lied. Where is it? Because he goes.
You said a minute ago that house prices had risen in London because of immigration, primarily because of immigration.
I didn't say primarily. Again, you're misquoting me. I said it's contributed to the rise in house prices.
If you live in London, your rent has increased by a couple £100 a month since 2000s, just purely through immigration.
I didn't say primarily. Again, you're misquoting me.
Purely through immigration.
So not primarily, purely, right? Yeah. Okay. So anyway, the thing that was quite weird, the thing that was quite funny about that exchange was, as I was saying to a friend of mine yesterday, I was saying, like, I never knew anything about this guy. I never knew who he was. Apparently he's well known, he's Nigel Farage's protege, you know, he's it was almost bullying Bob. He thinks because he's posh, he's intelligent, but he's thick. I guess so. So I saw this advert on Instagram, like this guy was giving a talk, but I never really actually looked at it. I had a sense, I was like, I think this is maybe some right-wing guy or something, but I never knew anything about him. And then I only remembered because they sent an email going, we're not telling you where the venue is exactly until 10 minutes before for security reasons. So I was like, oh aye, that thing, I forgot about that thing that I was going to go to. So I was like, I'll go along, I've got time, I'll try and get along. So when I got there, I saw that there was like a bunch of people outside, and it was dark, it was at George Square Theatre in Buccleuch Place. And I thought, all right, there's a bunch of people waiting to go in. So then when I went up, there was like barriers and that there. And so the guy's like, right, give me your ID, and I was like, my ID. And then as I was trying to get my ID out or whatever, right? And then it's like, I was like, ID, and it was like these barriers, and then I just heard this like shouting, like, you know, this guy going like, he's not a student. I was like, turned around, and there was like this group of like folk, and they all sort of come down the barrier, and then they all started calling me a racist and a fascist and that, and I was like, what are you talking about? And they were going like, oh, I'm in reform or something, going to see this guy. And even at that moment, it was only at that moment when they actually started going on about reform that I actually realised this guy had something to do with reform. I never knew that he was anything to do with them. So all this young team of like liberal leftists, so were all like assailing me and basically going like, you're a racist and that if you go in there. And I was like going like, well, I didn't ken who this person is, and I want to go in and see what they've got to say. And I was saying to them, like, well, why don't you come in? Like, why don't you come in and, like, listen to what he's going to say? But they were having none of it. They were like, nah, he's a fascist and all this kind of stuff. And so they were firmly off that no platform kind of thing. But I noticed that then I found out afterwards that this guy in, like, York and stuff, they had protested him on the streets. There was like 400 people protesting him in the streets of York. Which, you know, his opinions were they were kind of reactionary and they were kind of stupid. You know what I mean? He didn't really. Bojo's McGlinty. Does he have to dilate his new arsehole? It's like his views were kind of your standard, you know, blame immigrants for everything. It's like like, you know, this whole idea that they're going like immigrants. First of all, this idea of colonisation is patently ridiculous, right? You know, how can poor immigrants be colonising? Like, you know, where's their power source? Like, where's the locus of their power exactly? You know, and then this idea that they are also responsible for increased house prices. You know, this is a ridiculous claim to make as well. So the whole thing was just a litany of nonsense. But I suppose what's quite depressing is that we're at this stage, you know, where we've got this kind of normalisation of this type of rhetoric that's been allowed to bleed back into the public discourse. And where do we point the finger for that? To the Zionists? I mean, they've spent the last 2 years, you know, basically like terrorising and abusing Muslims. And who funds this guy's tour? Because first of all, it was free to attend, and there wasn't that many people there. So who's funding this stuff? I would be more interested in that. And he cited Onward, didn't he? Which is apparently just a sort of, well, the fact that it's a think tank, you know, the fact that he was basing this on a think tank. Anybody that knows anything, as soon as you say think tank, you say, well, who's behind the think tank? You know, because it's like, you know, it's a bit like polling, isn't it? It's kind of like, you know, engineered results. That's what a think tank's there for, to kind of engineer the results of whatever it is that you want the outcome to be. Purely is more than primarily. I couldn't agree more. Yes, David Mellor is a funding patron of Onward. That wee fella wasn't prepared for Bob. To be honest, I thought I want to get my money's worth out of this, even though it was free. I was like, you know, I was kind of bored after listening to sort of Gavin Brewis called him Oswald Muesli, which I thought was funny. Right, so where are we at? 12 o'clock. Okay, I'll be back again in just a minute. I'm going to play a track by a great artist called Colin Hunter, and this is called Here Comes the Surprise. Well, I would play it if my monitor didn't defy me here. Just give a sec.
Please don't panic, you can trust me, you are safe and sound. You forgot warm clothes, so please check the lost and found. Keep hydrated to wash away that Godhead feel. Keep making shapes, you know that it's not really real. Not really sending us. Everything's fine, 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 fine. You can relax, there is no fight or flight to engage in. In Marcana's living room, his mum and dad let us play Sonic on the big TV. Whatever works for you works for me. We found a dead rat in the middle of the street. I go here sometimes. 1993. Trust me, you are safe and sound.
Right. Love this track, thanks. Yes, I absolutely belter, isn't it? Colin Hunter, Here Comes the Surprise. So did everybody clock the at some point he was going to pop up and here he is. I mean, it's like, let's just hear what he says. I mean, he really is the guy that should have been in The Hague 20 odd years ago. Here he is spewing the worst.
This is a vision of Gaza as part of a Middle East at peace. Not a phony piece of declarations no one means and agreements no one intends to keep, but a genuine commitment to a region where whether you're a Muslim, Jew, Christian, of any faith or none, you can rise by your own efforts and feel your government by your side, not on your back. That is the vision behind President Trump's 20-point plan for Gaza, and it remains the best, indeed the only hope for Gaza, the region, and the wider world.
I mean, you've got that wasn't the actual clip that I thought it was, but it amounts to the same thing, you know. Blair there touting Trump's vision. He was going on about the opportunities for the opportunities for Muslims in Gaza and stuff, you know, and. So this is really, you know, people talk about, you know, people are apathetic. If you think about it, for example, it's like, you know, you think about local politics or whatnot, you know, and the rigged game of it and stuff, you know, it's like, would that guy, right, would he have been able to authorise, you know, to the war drums of Iraq, 1 million dead Iraqis, and now presiding over the sort of the carving up of Gaza for the predatory hands of paedophile capitalists. What would have happened if the people of Sedgefield hadn't actually put Blair in? You know, and this is why maybe we should pay close attention to party politics. I mean, you can understand why we've becoming, you know, profoundly apathetic to the whole process. But maybe like the actual protest vote would be to actually participate in party politics. Sorry, not party politics, but to participate in the democratic process as much as possible to try to disrupt party politics. I mean, that's my perspective on this matter. But you know, just throwing it out there. But the democratic perversion of neoliberal party politics, you know, it really took an advanced mode where basically when it came to Blair, didn't it? You know, that's really where it kind of like came full force into us in terms of what was actually going to happen here, because you've now got that guy sitting there presiding over Trump's Gaza committee, you know, which is, you know, disturbing in every conceivable sense. I don't know. What do we think? What do we think about Blair and Gaza? And once again, Galloway, who people become very reactionary about, but it's like he's just been saying all the right things when it comes to geopolitics. Bloodstains don't wash out. No. So here's a Reform Scotland candidate. I didn't actually look at this either. Let's have a look at this. Let's see what this candidate's saying.
And then, my name's Audrey Dempsey. I was elected as a Labour councillor in Glasgow in 2022. It didn't take long for me to discover that Labour were not what they said in the tin.
Well, what you know, already you're kind of going though. Like, well, what were you? How long did it take you to figure that out? You know, you got elected. You got elected as a Labour councillor in 2022.
I felt a failure being part of that outfit. I left Labour, I resigned, and I sat as an industry 1.5 years, and then was attracted to the Reform Party simply because they wanted to normalise the truth. To me, that was amazing.
Well,
somebody, a political outfit that wanted to speak about real issues that's happened to real people and support working class to the highest.
Well, it's just embarrassing, isn't it, really, to be honest, you know? You know, the idea that Reform are actually a party by and for the working class is ludicrous. And whoever you are, sort of journeywoman Labour councillor, you know what I mean? It's like you got elected under a party political banner, what became disillusioned, and then you decided that Reform were the answer, the party that the working class are crying out for. Is this a failure? This is a failure of Liberals, really. The issue still lies at their door, to be honest. And this is why we've got the rise of this stuff in many respects. It's all a bit bizarre, to say the least. This was again an example of the Green Party in Scotland. This guy was all excited because
the amendments have been lodged, they've been voted on. It only took 20 minutes to get through that phase.
He's made his nice wee video and everything, but it was to ban greyhound racing, and we don't have any greyhound racing in Scotland. So his big thing was taking up parliamentary time to ban greyhound racing when we don't have any greyhound racing, like, you know. Here's another Reform guy, former Labour councillor Jamie Maguire. Was this another guy that defected and became an independent or something, you know? Let's have a look here.
I left Scottish Labour because I don't believe they're a party of the working class anymore. What we saw from a UK Labour government: higher taxes on workers, more regulations and taxes on small businesses, and higher energy bills through policies that they have enacted. But what I see from Reform is a party that represents for the working class, a party that believes in aspiration, that believes that you should keep more of your own money, that believes that you should be successful and self-sufficient. Reform UK are offering hope, and that's what you're going to get with Malcolm offers as First Minister in Holyrood.
I think the thing that's interesting, you know, it's this notion that the term working class, it's like it's been so kind of turned into this weird kind of abstracted thing, you know, where it's like the battle for the, you know, and the irony being, right, that all of these, this is this sort of funny sort of contradiction of the whole thing, that all of these parties, whether it's the Green Party or the Labour Party or the Reform Party or whatever, they've realised that this is a provocative term, the working class, and they're all battling over for who can sort of like, present themselves as kind of the representation of the working class. And the reason is, like, why is that? Why are they doing that? The reason is because the reality is that a united working class could actually destroy all of these parties. That's the whole point, you know. So they want to command some kind of control or some authority over the working class. But at the same time, they're terrified of the working class, and they don't actually want to engage with anyone that is working class. Pink Truffles says something here. I think we all need to get rid of the word working class. We are victimising ourselves. That's a very neoliberal statement to make. I think anybody that was von Hayek himself would probably approve of such messaging, I think, like, you know. I think this is an interesting thing. It's an interesting statement to make. What would be the benefit of removing the term working class? Who would that benefit? The whole neoliberal project is a project at its core, which is to suppress class consciousness, to suppress consciousness in general. But certainly one of the core factors of the neoliberal project was to remove the language of working class resistance. And in itself, removing the right to even acknowledge working class as a class, what that means, and what the relationship to power is. So by removing the idea, like, you know, by removing the word working class, I don't think that's a particularly sensible thing to advocate for. If anything, we need to be reintroducing the notion of the working class, and we need to be thinking about what working class actually is, and not what people want to insist that it is. What does it mean to be working class? You know, what we're experiencing here is the collapse. You know, we're at the end. We're at the end of the neoliberal project. It's fallen to pieces, and Katrina's saying in the US, they call working class people middle class. Yeah, this is the thing. It's like there's these kind of interpretations, isn't there? And you have a lot of bourgeois liberals. They like to think, because they sell their labour, they say, "Oh, I'm working class. I sell my labour." You know, everybody sells their labour. Do you know what I mean? And this is a strange kind of thing, and again, it obfuscates, and it actually does the working class a disservice as well, because it allows kind of privileged people to occupy that space and then sort of say, well, I'm working class now, you know what I mean, because I've got a job. It doesn't really work like that, you know, at all. Certainly not in the UK in any respect, you know, in terms of our traditional communities, working class culture. I mean, the main place where we need to have working class agency and working class investment is in culture, and that's the thing. If you go back, to the 80s, the 70s and 80s, you had writers like Trevor Griffiths and people like this, you know what I mean, that were constantly creating work that were accruing millions and millions of regular viewers and theatre and television that catered for a working class audience. And part of the process of the neoliberal project was a deliberate, concerted effort to erase that from the culture, to make us into consumers, you know, and to remove working class agency. It all went part and parcel with the whole Thatcherite project. Do you have a consistent definition of working class yourself? Well, what do you mean by that? What do you mean a consistent definition of working class yourself? What What do you mean a consistent definition? Anybody that needs, this is the thing, right? It's like anybody, have you noticed this, right? This is what I've noticed over the last decade or something of politics. It's like the only people who are confused about what working class is or isn't are middle class people. They're the people that struggle to understand what working class is because they're not working class. So it's a self-own. Every time anybody starts going on about working class, it's basically they're no working class. It's as simple as that. It's like working class people know class-conscious working class people know they're working class. And then the byproduct of the neoliberal project is you have vast sections of working class people who aren't class conscious as a result of neoliberalism, who don't have the political enlightenment or agency to recognise where they sit on that class spectrum enough to form resistance through it. So it's the neoliberal project is a successful project when it comes to class suppression. And this whole thing here, we are in 1950s miners time. What does that mean? What's your point? What is your point about that? Okay. If you're not confused, what is working class? What do you mean, what is working class? You're obviously confused. If you don't know, if you don't understand what is working class, and you need to ask, it's like you're the person that's confused, not me. I'm not confused. It's like if you can't understand this, why don't you listen to working class people? There's plenty of them talking. There's plenty of them out there, making their points. Am I a neoliberal for asking the question? I can. You would need to tell me. If you're asking, maybe actually that's a good point. I would actually say, yeah. Yeah. Potentially, yeah. That doesn't mean that you subscribe to everything that comes part and parcel with neoliberalism. But if you're needing to ask that question, you know what I mean? It's like it doesn't mean what it used to. If used the way it commonly is, as unfriendly as it sounds, there's also an underclass, quite a large one, or are they just working class? The social landscape, this is Bojo's McGlinty on X, the social landscape is entirely different from when it was easy to categorise way back then. Only if you subscribe to those terms meaning what they originally did. Some of us don't. Well, okay. You still have to recognise, right, that this is about power and it's about the relationship to capital on some fundamental level, and then your cultural and your environmental circumstances, your opportunities, your privilege, all that kind of stuff. I suppose there shouldn't really be anything particularly complicated about it, I don't think. Here's Katrina clarifying. I would agree with probably what she's saying. Class is not an identity, it's the relations between the classes. It's about consciousness. Trying to make it into an identity is the quashing of the working classes. There you go. The fact that it has become, it's like the fact that it's become this kind of like battle, this topic for discussion and confusion, only shows who's holding the power. The fact that you've got middle class liberals. Right, here's something. Here's what I'll get. Here's what I'll say. Right, here's something. Right, so you'll notice, like, over this last period or whatever, I've been having. If you follow me on X or whatever, you know that I've been tussling with Bella Caledonia. Right, Mike Small, a snooty Scottish exceptionalist, bourgeois liberal. Right. Who has always been, in my opinion, class prejudiced, who wants to believe that he represents the left, as all the left do, but the left in its current perceptible form is almost entirely occupied by middle-class liberals. When I made the film a couple of years ago, the vlog about Mark Fisher's seminal essay, Exit the Vampire Castle, about Russell Brand. Well, it's not really about Russell Brand, but that was that piece. That seminal essay, Exit the Vampire Castle, is about the liberals' occupation of the left. The left that used to be the democratic political force that represented the working classes and gave some working class agency or significant working class power in our politics, okay? The entire political class are neoliberals, right? They're bourgeois liberals, they're middle class neoliberals, right? Professional managerial class. So then you have a situation like this where you have people like Mike Small, okay? Now I don't want to, listen, I'll just make this clear, right? I do not dislike Mike Small as a person particularly, right? But I don't think Mike has any politics worth a fuck, right? And I don't like a lot of the things that he does, because he's representative of a large section of Scottish culture as well. Because this is what, or when I say a large section, a loud section of the establishment left, if you like. Now what they do is this is the hypocrisy and contradiction, and this is why it boils my piss, right? They want to present themselves as being intellectually oppositional to capital. They want to present themselves as having a fundamental opposition to the bankruptcy and the perversion of neoliberalism and neoliberal democracy, okay? And then it comes to this period of time, the lead up to the election, and they cannot conceal their erections for the SNP or the Green Party and their excitement whenever the Tories or Reform or Labour or what do they call them, like the Red Tories and all the rest of it, the Scottish Labour lot, whenever they fall on their own swords or whatnot, right? So what you have is this. You have these people who want to present themselves as being so enlightened that they recognise the absolute bankruptcy of neoliberal party politics, yet they cannot help but thoroughly expose their engagement with it when it comes to something like an election, right? So that's basically that's why I'm so opposed to these people, because they're frauds. Because on one hand they will publish information and they will go on and on and about these grand critiques of capital, and they will go on about how they recognise the flaws, the corruption, the perversion of neoliberal party politics, but then they fully participate in it, whether it's with the Green Party or the SNP or any of these other organisations. And what do these organisations fundamentally do for class politics? I'll give you the answer. Fuck all. Nothing. The SNP are useless for the working class. The Green Party are useless for the working class, right? And the only force that can actually challenge this absolute horror show that we are currently existing in is a unified or a large section of working class power. A class-conscious movement, in my opinion, a socialist movement of sorts, that addresses the absolute fundamentals. But these middle-class liberals, they can't do that because they cannot connect with working-class people. And when people like Lisa McKenzie and whatnot, the point that they make is true. They just make it worse for themselves. They go down and they expose themselves as being thoroughly out of touch. That's the best way that I can describe it just now at 11 o'clock in the morning. At this point, I'm waiting for Jesus to come back. Well, you know. I'm going to play seeing as spring is in the air. What is seeing as spring is in the air? I'm going to play a sort of summery vibe that's by a great artist. I think she's based in Glasgow, and our very own Macapella. This is Empress. I'll be back in a second.
The raw, the rugged, the rhythm, the rhyme. Wouldn't you trade it in for nothing? No, this life is really mine. I'm the raw, the rugged, the rhythm, the rhyme. I'm celebrated cause I shine. I be the raw, the rugged, the rhythm, the rhyme. Wouldn't you trade it in for nothing? No, this life is really mine. I'm the raw, the rugged, the rhythm, the rhyme. Check it. The saying I'm no playing, it's a given that I represent myself, what, and how I'm really living. No fronting, no shilling, just me, I'm chilling. No other way to be when you're top billing, cause I'm stacking up my killings, same way rappers rack up villains. I'm one in a million and the millionth one that's winning. It must be the reason I'm always happy and I'm grinning. Rappers are sinning, selling more than their souls, doing it for the gram, doing it for the goals, but I just can't go for that. I love the art, I'm so bold, raw as fuck because my heart and the bars are solid gold. Realistic, optimistic, not soft, don't get it twisted. I just choose peace over boxing and getting lifted. I'm gifted, plus I never said I wasn't mental. I just know how much violence it takes to be this gentle. I'm the raw, the rugged, the rhythm, the rhyme. Wouldn't trade it in for nothing, no, this life is really mine. I'm the raw, the rugged, the rhythm, the rhyme. I'm celebrated cause I shine. I be the raw, the rugged, the rhythm, the rhyme. Wouldn't trade it in for nothing, no, this life is really mine. I'm the raw, the rugged, the rhythm, the rhyme. I'm celebrated cause I shine. I'm the raw, the rugged, the rhythm, the rhyme. Wouldn't trade it in for nothing, no, this life is really mine. I be flipping and dipping and kicking the funky rhythms every time. I ain't tripping, I'm hitting, I'm spitting while I'm sitting on these minds. What? I've waited my whole life to do that. What? I waited my whole life to say that. Disrespecting legends, I don't know how we should take that. But your style's okay? Cause we don't play that. No, I'm really bad at what I really do that. Me, a boss of stages and I really slay that. Whatever it takes, I state it and yes, I make that happen in the rapping, I'm no capping, I just shake that and break it down cause you rap is hard to find. The biting and reciting, man, you know it is a crime. I'ma say it once again for your motherfucking mind. I'll be the raw, the rugged, the rhythm, I'm the raw, the rugged, the rhythm, the rhyme. Wouldn't trade it in for nothing, no, this life is really mine. I'll be the raw, the rugged, the rhythm, the rhyme. I'm celebrated cause I shine. I'll be the raw, the rugged, the rhythm, the rhyme. Wouldn't trade it in for nothing, no, this life is really mine. I'll be the raw, the rugged, the rhythm, the rhyme. I'm celebrated cause I shine. I'll be the raw, the rugged, the rhythm, the rhyme.
Let's bullet point our lives away and then we'll soon forget. Reality fragmented, we apply the anesthetic. Our lives a hopeless sound to a broken dialectic.
Bonjour. So that was Empress, the Raw, the Rugged, produced by Macapella.
It's my
And
belief that history is a wheel.
and
Inconstancy is
Dras,
my very essence,
the Spectacle,
says the
which is
wheel.
the alter ego of one of the best
cast
digital
that
artists in
down
the
into
UK,
depths.
Shardcore,
Good times pass away, but then
which is another great piece of work.
Mutability is
IMHO. So this is this vibe where the Greens are also now this big Republican outfit, like, you know, anti-monarchy. What's this, Gillian Mackay? What's she saying?
Let alone...
Let's see.
It's a ridiculous, antiquated relic of a system that flies in the face of democracy.
Who are they
There is
talking?
no excuse
It's like,
for giving someone so
all
much
of a sudden
unearned power,
they're all
let alone
it's like
someone...
it's really, you know, it's like, yeah, the monarchy, right? I obviously, you know, this notion that they're now sort of branding themselves as these radical Republicans and all this kind of stuff, it's cringeworthy stuff, you know. They really are the worst of the worst, you know. Like I say, it's evangelical liberalism, you know, and this is their thing, you know. It's like they've got fuck all to say, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, get rid of the royal family. It's like, right, obviously, like, you know what I mean? Like, personally, I just really think that we've got an election coming up in Scotland. When is it? May, and pretty much the SNP, it's like, oh, the SNP are going to come back in. Like, that's an indictment. So what are we going to have? Like, the Greens are going to pick up a bunch of list seats because a bunch of middle-class liberals. So, you know, it's still not really any use. The whole thing is a load of nonsense. And I think really the genocide is the main factor. It's like, you know, at what point are people going to realise that, like, this is the thing, it's almost like all of these middle classes that are essentially going to, like, so the Green vote is what? Is the laundered moral, is your moral laundering. Oh, I voted Green, like, I'm a good person. The Westminster system is broken, but we plan to fight it from within. You're laughable. We should AI her singing Cardi Lou. It's that thing, isn't it, where it's like, you know, that suddenly the Greens decided, like a year or so ago, that they were going to become Republicans and they were going to make a big thing about this, you know. And prior to that, you know, they never really made much of a fuss about it. And it's the same with it, you know. Well, where's the SNP's thing, you know? Where's their abolish the monarchy? It's the pantomime of it that's the insult. This is what I was sort of mentioning earlier, you know, this idea that you can have your kind of, like, you know, your neoliberal light version of party politics. It's like, nah, it doesn't work like that. That's like when John Swinney, do you remember they raised the Palestinian flag for like 5 minutes? And then it's an interesting point because the National, Laura Webster and all that in the National, I mean, somebody mentioned it, I can't mind, I seen a comment earlier going like, why didn't they comment on your exchange with the Reform guy? That's got, like, you know, hundreds of thousands of views, and it's you know, anybody else who had done that in Scotland, if they'd had like a few thousand views, it would have been watch the moment Nigel Farage's reform fucking prodigy gets schooled in Edinburgh or something. You know, they would have run that. They've all watched it. They all know it's there. But it's like no, it's him. Well, no, we can't report that. It's like, well, we'll report it or not. It doesn't really matter, does it? It doesn't really make any difference. It's more about whether or not anything can happen to disrupt the Scottish parliamentary foregone conclusion. Because these are the same people, these are our so-called left intelligentsia. So the same radicals, like if Laura Webster is a radical, right, the editor of The National, well, how radical is she? Because they just parrot the SNP's line. They were the ones that gave the impression that the SNP had raised the Palestinian flag at the Scottish office at the Scottish Government building. And it was only on, like, you know, reading the small print, it was explained that the flag was brought down after 5 minutes. You know what I mean? Didn't see any of the big anti-monarchy groups reposting Gardyloo either. Haha. Busier selling merch. Gardyloo was a big exposure, wasn't it? Do you know that? Like, end of the day, right, Gardyloo was a banger, right? If I do say so myself. And Louder Than War gave it a brilliant endorsement. Loved it. Because it was great. And nobody in Scotland mentioned it. Not a single, none of the music, like, apart from a few notable exceptions in respect to yourselves. But nobody mentioned it, nobody said anything about it. Rebellious Scots, eh? Gardyloo was a big exposure for the state of our media and the frauds that populate it. Thank you very much, Madame Guy. Respect to Andy and Aj putting that together, the collaborative efforts. Right. We're nearing the home straight, I think, this morning. I won't lie, I've been more organised in the past, but we do what we can. Somebody sent me this. Farage, congratulations to Prince Andrew for his comments at the reception he hosted in Davos. Support Britain. I'm going to do something a bit unusual here. Not unusual, but I'm going to post a link, and we'll talk about it next time I come on. Hold on a second.
Imagine being
So, there's an interview that somebody sent me, a friend of mine, Sam, sent me this interview between Michael Pollan and some guy called Jay Shetty, which I've realised not subscribed. And it is a discussion about consciousness. And it's brilliant. I'm going to pop it in the chat here for you to copy into your to listen to. Bojos McGlinty says, I'll be voting to make candidates lose, not win. And it's a reasonable position to take, but the problem is obviously it's like who is winning as a result of that? Other useless party political class, no doubt. Anyway, this discussion between Michael Paul and this chap is really interesting, and I would advise you to check out if you get the chance. Now, where are we at? 1:45. I'm going to play out, not just that, but I'm going to play out with something truly spectacular. But if you just give me a minute, I'll be back in a second. That makes sense.
These are some harsh truths from a woman of colour living in Britain today. Britain has never been more racist and Islamophobic than it is now. And that's because racism and Islamophobia have become mainstream. Political parties like Reform, Restore and Advance UK have normalised Islamophobia and racism. People of colour are feeling attacks from politicians, the media, social media, and this is spilling out onto the streets of Britain. And there has never been a time that women would feel more vulnerable, but particularly black and brown women. We're watching decades of fighting for women's rights and safety being compromised to push racism and hate. Reform and the far right have turned the spotlight from female victims, where we desperately need reform, to pushing a racist and false narrative about immigrants. Black and brown female voices are already marginalised in the mainstream. But now we have black and brown women representing us, but who do not speak for us. People like Kemi Badenoch, Suella Braverman and Priti Patel. Reform had put the Equality Act under threat, and this makes all women more vulnerable in the workplace and outside of the home. Women of colour have the added threats of racism and Islamophobia.
Yo, we flaming. This isn't war, this is genocide. Little kids dying, full country getting terrorised. Seen it before and again it to our naked eyes. How many more lives taken for our government's waking in eyes? Keir Starmer, Donald Trump, use our cunts. Why do you keep giving the IDF bombs and guns? You know what they're doing, killing children and mums, capturing women and abusing them for fun. Let the aid in, it's another man-made famine. Get kids scraping for scraps because they're starving. No water from the taps, they've no way of surviving. We've seen this before, the Brits done it in Ireland. Till I die, it's Viva la Palestino. Long living martyrs, freedom fighters, aye the heroes. R.I.P. the innocents that got killed, it's fucking evil. Cause in the end, we're all just ordinary people. They call them IDF, but what the fuck are they defending? What about the families they're killing and oppressing? Insanity, what our governments are letting. To speak the truth, this stuff is kinda just depressing. Let's take a look back to the 19th century, where Palestine was a land of free identity. But then the Brits came through in the century, took over their land, but we'll get them free eventually. I'd love a bit of fame, but I don't really care. I just want a world where we're treated the same and fair, where race and gender doesn't matter, nor religion, what you wear. Don't get judged for counting pennies or a multi-billionaire. So free Palestine, God bless Iran. Stand together to unite Ireland and help for Scottish independence, cause it's our land. Dependent on a referendum, they won't let us have victory to the resistant. Stay persistent, would rather die fighting and sit back and just be victims. That's me finished. Thanks for listening. Help free the world for this fucking corrupt system.
I did my PhD in critical theory because critical theory is not just about understanding the world, it's about changing it. Critical theory is the critique of ideology, it's the critique of power. The way that power manifests in our society today is invisible. It exists in structures, in the economy, it's mystified, and it puts the control out of your hands and into some realm that you feel like you can't do anything about, and it makes us feel powerless. Critical theory does not make me feel powerless. Paulo Freire writes in Pedagogy of the Oppressed, you have to be able to name the world in order to change it. Critical theory is always a commitment to the future. It's about deconstructing and understanding power to change it. One of my favourite theorists and activists and revolutionaries is Rosa Luxemburg, and my favourite quote from her is, the most revolutionary thing you can do is to always proclaim loudly what is happening. When we live in this post-truth age, this is one of the hardest things to do. We are bombarded with information all of the time, truth, lies, and we need more than anything to think critically about information, about what is happening, because that is power. This social and economic system that we live in now, the ideology that we're all constantly trapped in, is called neoliberalism. It began when Margaret Thatcher and Ronald Reagan removed the power from politics and gave it to the markets. That's why we see constant crisis and why nobody can ever seem to sort it out. State power is just the power of you and me. It's the power of people. It's the power of the state. We are the state. The state is democratic. When you allow people with loads of wealth to accumulate more wealth and take the power away from people to buy things like houses that are a necessity to survival, this is not only undemocratic, this is violence. What neoliberalism does is it teaches you to blame yourself, because it's all about survival of the fittest. It's all about you can make it if you work hard. And that also means if you fail, it's all your fault. The system is set up so that there are very, very few winners and many, many losers. The winners rely on the fact that everybody else loses. Hence, you can't become a billionaire without exploiting people. The far right, the right, Farage, Reform are on the side of the neoliberals. They are neoliberals. They don't care about people or democracy. They care about rich people's wealth. And if we give these people any more power, we'll be even more powerless and the problem will get worse. We will get poorer because they will win and we will continue to lose. The most revolutionary thing you could do is proclaim what is happening. When people ask you questions, tell them. If you're not sure, educate yourself, read, watch anything, YouTube, do it all, because this is an emergency. As I always say to you, we can't have a democracy without informed citizens, and it's an emergency.
Yes, well, what is everyone's weekend looking like? This was quite funny. My dad about to deliver a party political broadcast for the Greens. Information overload. So is there going to be an attack on Iran? Is that what's going to be happening? This is the great. Let's have a look. Not like this is what I'm saying. Like lots of people I like are positive about the Greens and think that this is a good thing, and they're entitled to that perspective. Ali Fogg. This is the Greens. This is the Greens down in Gorton and Denton. Let's have a look and see what they're doing. Let's have a look.
In Green Party history.
Let's see.
Election in Green Party history. Because you also know that this is one of the most important by-elections in recent British history. And we say that because what's happening in here, in Gorton and Denton,
Yeah, I didn't. That's it. It wasn't that. I didn't realise it wasn't that informative. Right. Well, having scanned. That's what's going on here. Okay. Having scanned the Intersphere this morning and elicited what I can from it. I've done my best. And that's all you can do, eh? Bodgers says, playing records and drawing, bliss, keeping my head in the sand. That's a perfectly good way to spend your Saturday. He's a Barry drawer, is Bodgers. He's a talented artist, is the Bodgers. No John McFadden this morning. I feel like we're missing something. Missing McFadden. Anyway, where is this here? I will be back probably on another Saturday morning, perhaps even next Saturday morning. There's a debate as to whether I'm going to do this bi-weekly at present. We're still trying to put a few things in place. But there is an election looming. And a lot of people have been asking me questions about the election. I'm actually going to be giving a talk on some of the matters that we try to attempt to cover on What the X, and I'll be doing that soon, so keep your eyes peeled for that. I'm just trying to figure out which venue I'm going to use for it. But I will be giving a public talk in the capital about the state of things as they are. So I'll be putting information up about that soon. I had a wee bit of paper, I left it at home this morning. So unfortunately I don't have my notes that I had. Right, listen, I'm going to play out with something genuinely spectacular. Proc Fiscal is an Edina, an individual in the Edina, I believe, and aside from having made and making amazing music, also the visuals that Proc Fiscal has been putting out over the last while have been spectacular. You Hash was the last one that we played on What the X a while ago, which is phenomenal. And they just released this yesterday on Hyperdub, and it is genuinely mind-blowing. It's what we need. It's what the world needs, right? It's basically it's reaching into the realm that we all need to be reaching into, as far as I'm concerned. And it's a piece of audiovisual marvel produced by Finn Rabbit and Joseph S. Powers. So I'm going to play out. I'm honoured to be playing out with Proc Fiscal's latest track, Disease Again. And stay tuned for the whole of this. It's a masterpiece. And I'll catch you all again when I'm back. So this is Proc Fiscal, Disease Again. Catch you soon. Ciao.
what's happening, boys? We got the crispy crowns. Looking fucking good, man. Probably go for this fucker.
On your radio, on Global Player,